The purpose of Buddhism. Why are we born into this world? Why do we live? Is it for money, for love, or for fame? We often say we want to live happily, but if we look closely, most of our daily lives are just about eating, sleeping, and seeking personal satisfaction. Yet, these are not the true purpose of life, but only temporary means. How can we enjoy true happiness if we do not understand the most important issues of life, and death and our true self? The Buddha was born in India about 2,500 years ago as Prince Siddhartha Gautama. In the palace, he had everything he could want: fine food, beautiful clothes, women, and even the throne he was to inherit. But he was not happy. This was because he could not solve the problems of life and death, or answer why we live, and he was haunted by endless questions about life and death. He felt a deep sense of futility, knowing that humans are born only to eventually grow old, become ill, and die. At that time, the ruling class of India believed in Brahmanism, but its teachings gave no answers to the young prince. Instead, they only deepened his doubts. Even when he ate delicious food, enjoyed the company of beautiful dancers, or listened to enchanting music, he could not feel joy. The splendid palace felt like a prison. One day, leaving behind his beautiful wife and young son, he suddenly departed the palace. He became an ascetic, retreating into the mountains. After 6 years of rigorous practice, one day under the Bodhi tree, as he saw the morning star rise in the east, he suddenly attained enlightenment. He realized that his existence was inseparably placed within infinite space and time, that the universe and himself were one. He understood that there was no separate life or death, no coming or going. This was when Shakyamuni Buddha awakened from ignorance and discovered his true nature. He saw that when ignorance arises, the mind arises. When the mind arises, desire arises, and from desire, life and death. Coming and going, happiness and suffering are all created. The Buddha realized how the chain of rebirth could be broken, so that all beings might be freed from the trap of repeated life and death, and instead walk the path of right living. The state that the Buddha awakened to was of the highest order. In his eyes, he saw sentient beings endlessly wandering, caught in desire, anger and ignorance, aging, falling ill, dying, and struggling in the ocean of suffering. They were so accustomed to this suffering that they accepted it as natural. The Buddha wondered how he could teach beings what he had realized. He turned away from the bliss of nirvana and returned to the world of suffering humans, sharing his awakening with beings. Lost in suffering was the act of great compassion. This is the beginning point of Buddhism. The word Buddha comes from the Sanskrit for to awaken, and enlightenment means that through awakening, we are freed from suffering. All religions ask the same questions. What is life and death? Why do we live? Where do we go after death? If one can truly answer these, then one has found the path of life. Ultimately, religions can be divided into object-centered and subject-centered. Object-centered religions are those that believe in a transcendent force, a powerful being that controls life and the universe. People believe that if they trust in God, they will be happy and go to heaven. Happiness is sought from an external object. Subject-centered religion, however, begins from the self. If I free myself from greed, anger, and ignorance, and attain enlightenment, then I become happy. Buddhism is such a subject-centered religion. It is the exploration of the human mind, of where suffering comes from, and how to eliminate it. Through Buddhist practices, such as meditation or chanting, one can attain true enlightenment. The purpose of Buddhism, as shown by Shakyamuni Buddha, is to attain enlightenment through practice, and to save beings trapped in suffering. When enlightenment is attained, one realizes that the universe and the self are not separate, but one. At that stage, one knows exactly what must be done at each moment, how to judge situations rightly, how to relate with others, and how to practice rightly. The purpose of Buddhism, attaining enlightenment and liberating all beings, is like the two wheels of a cart. One must diligently strive to awaken. But in the process, and after enlightenment, one must not neglect relationships with people, animals, and nature. No matter how much knowledge one has, how much wealth, or how many connections, without the two wheels of enlightenment and the liberation of beings, a person's life is meaningless.